The first month of the 2025 Hell Hades free-to-play challenge is in the books, and the bonus points have been distributed, so the leaderboards look a little bit different today. But on my challenge account here, the slow roll is in strong effect, but I have made the adjustment of not going for this fusion event. I am passing on the fusion, and therefore I am trying to cash in my resources that I've been hoarding in the best possible way I can. So I've gotten a lot of value in the last 48 hours. So many things have changed. I need to catch up to speed. And then we still have to pull the void shards here on the account. We have to do a couple of other things as well. And so by the time this video ends, this account may look very different than it does at this moment right now. I am Colred. This is Colred Plays Raid Shadow Legends free-to-play challenge. Let's get started. Just a quick reminder to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and consider joining our Discord community. And don't forget to catch our next Takeover Tuesday live stream, February 4th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope to see you there. I am here on the leaderboards for this year's challenge, and the leaderboards have shifted a little bit in the last just few hours because there are monthly points that get distributed. Now, if you don't know all of the rules to the challenge, I'm not surprised, first of all, because it's something you only really need to know if you're a competitor. But if we scroll all the way down here through all of the various descriptions, we get down to this section where it says monthly and end of season leaderboard points. So points are awarded in key areas and are based on the highest stage and best completion time for these 7 areas. You can see it's the classic 4 dungeons plus the 3 advanced dungeons, Sand Devil's Necropolis, Shogun's Grove, and Iron Twins Fortress. Now, you are ranked on the leaderboards according to your best finish on the account. So once that first month ends, which it did yesterday, you will get bonus points based on these 7 locations. So if you are ranked first in any of these locations, you get 250 points. And if you are in the bottom 50%, you get 50 points. So everybody gets at least 50 points per section. So everyone got at least 350 points. But you could get up to a grand total of 1,750 points. So the people at the top of the leaderboards who are already getting more points are starting to get a little bit of separation from the rest of the group. So I'm going to show you the leaderboard and where I stand. And I did get a decent number of points for this. I didn't really try to compete in the challenge. That wasn't something I was tracking. So I wasn't thinking about this very much. And I kind of wish I was, because I think I could have made a couple extra points. But if we just go to the leaderboards, you can see, first of all, my current score has risen. I'm now here at 25. I've got 3,810 points. So I think I picked up somewhere along the lines of like 500 or 600 points, maybe something like that, about that much. And that has bumped me up a few spots. So before the monthly giveaway, or whatever you want to call it for the points, I was in 28th. And again, I've been floating around 25 to 28 anyway, so this isn't a major move for me. But you can see I'm still close to the people above me. You know, there's not a big gap here for the next few ranks. But if you go all the way to the top, you can see that some people have really started to separate themselves. Bront Cat Herder, good to see you at the top of the list, buddy. Just crushing it. And so we've got some people up here who really are starting to put on some major points and separate themselves from the group. I would say these top 9 or so seem to have a chunk of points over the next batch. Not that Neva and Broken Not Dead are far off the mark, but you can see there's over a 200-point jump here to 9. And then from 9 all the way up to 1, it's basically 1,000 points, over 900 points there. So finishing in the top 10 at this point already looks like it's out of reach. Now, that's okay. That wasn't part of the plan. You know my slow roll strategy. And by the way, it seems like some people may be confused about what my slow roll strategy is. This is not a strategy to win this challenge. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not like lying in wait. I'm not like saving my resources and I'm going to pounce at the end. That's not the goal here. The slow roll strategy is just to play this game more slowly, basically, to put fewer hours in, to play more conservatively, to play the way a free-to-play player would who wasn't involved in the challenge. So not looking to pick up points, not looking to like massively snowball early on at the expense of long-term gains. And when we look at the account, I'll show you some of the ways that that is manifesting itself and you'll begin to understand what the slow roll is. But still, one of the other aspects of this challenge and why I chose to do this is just to see how that slow roll would compete against very good players. These are great content creators who are actually trying to maximize their challenge points. Now, I don't know everybody's strategy. I haven't watched every single channel, but I'm sure a lot of competitors are pushing hard like I was last year in order to finish as close to the top as possible. So right now, feeling like, I'm still in the top half. My personal goal, or sort of my estimation, is that I might be able to make it into the top 20. Now, I do think that that's going to be tricky. That's going to be hard. It's certainly within the realm of possibility, but I don't want to be untrue to the slow roll approach. I don't want to just get to the last week and then be like, you know what, for the last week, I'm going to push really hard and play 10 hours a day and try to maximize. Like, I don't want to do that. I just want to see where I end up. So I'm trying to detach my ego from it, right? It's really more of a curiosity thing. I want to see what happens. I don't want to make what happens happen, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So here we are, like I said, at 25, and it feels good. It feels good to be there. It feels like it makes sense to me in a lot of ways. But let's go look at the account, and I will show you some of the reasons why I think this slow roll approach is more realistic for free-to-play players. All right, so let's jump over here. So first of all, I unlocked the mine basically as soon as I can. I got the first 2 Champions Masteries. I bought those with gems, and then I went right to the gem mine. Over the next couple of weeks, I guess, I have unlocked the Guardian Ring. I was originally saving gems for the first fusion. So I had a little bit over, I think, 1,500 gems. And then I decided, as soon as I decided I wasn't doing the fusion, I just finished off this whole row. So I had unlocked, I think, 1 or 2 of these, and then I unlocked the other 2. So now these are all open. Now, this will continue to benefit me for the rest of the challenge because I'm going to be making chickens when I'm not playing the game. And that's incredibly important because I'm not putting in as many hours into this game as a lot of the other challengers. So this passive XP gain is something that I can push my ceiling with, basically. I can elevate my ceiling with by basically having AFK, benefits. Yeah, and then so those are probably the 2 most conspicuous things. The other thing I've been doing is I've been saving void shards. I've been saving all of my shards. I haven't really pulled any of the shards. There's a 2 times void shard event going on today, so I will be pulling these 5 void shards. I also want to talk about the server reset because I didn't pull these yesterday for a reason. It's still Friday night, but it's after the server reset. I have some fragment champions. I have 2 Sabbathas here. I guess those are the 2 that I have. I was also thinking about High Katoon. I have High Katoon coming tomorrow. Now, if you didn't know, or if you don't remember, I actually started my challenge a few hours later than everybody. So the challenge started 4 hours before server reset, and I started like an hour after server reset. It was about 5 hours later than everybody, but that puts me a day behind on the login rewards. So one of the reasons why I didn't pull my void shards as soon as I could was because I knew I was getting this additional void shard when I logged in. And I will get High Katoon tomorrow, as opposed to pretty much everybody who got her today. But I have 6-starred my Geomancer. He is on his way to 60. I'm trying to get all of his masteries. I'm doing decently on masteries. I'm starting to... So I bought them for Alice and Athel, but you can see I'm starting to get them pretty far for the rest of the champions that I'm building. I have 5-starred Anchorite. He is going to probably be a champion I invest in. But now I've got to think about what I might pull from shards and what else I might get. Oh, quick note, there is another champion that I can get here, which is Morag Bronzelock, who is currently available to me. I was going to try to do well in this champion chase because I thought it was going to be part of the fusion. And now I'm like, well, I'm going to do well in this champion chase because it's just extra rewards, but it's not part of the fusion. So if I can get like this legendary tome, that would be great. I don't think I'm going to get that. I don't even know if I'm going to get these like forge materials for the relics. I don't even know that I'll get that. I should be able to get the 1100 points, I hope. But I am getting High Katoon tomorrow, so that's 250 points that I can't avoid. That is coming my way. And then I'm going to show you some other things. Because I made the decision yesterday or the day before to not go for the fusion, I started to invest some of the resources that I had been hoarding into some of these tournaments. So for instance, there was a Soul Chase tournament. Now I got my 5-star Alice soul during this tournament. Maybe several of you did as well. And so that was 500 points or something. It was a lot of points just out of the gate. And so I decided to go a little bit hard on this. And I really wanted to try to get these prism shards. I was really hoping for that, but I couldn't quite get enough soul stones. But I had saved all my soul stones. And I was eyeing like a 2-time soul stone event down the road because I think that's what free-to-play players would go for. But when I recognized that this event was here, I had a chance potentially to win it because of those 500 points and then the soul stones that I had saved. And I knew I could get a void shard maybe. And there's a 2-times void shard event. I could get some 5-star, but 6 pieces of 5-star legendary relentless gear, a legendary tome, and some materials here. So I decided to invest all of my soul stones. And in fact, I won this tournament, which was really nice. And I won it pretty handily, actually. I did not get any great souls from the tournament itself. I'll go ahead and show you my soul collection. So the thing that put me over the top was this 6-star epic soul that I did have to purchase. Did I purchase? I think I finished something else that actually got me an immortal soulstone. I finished one of the other tournaments that got me an immortal soulstone. I don't think I purchased it, but maybe I did. I forget. It was late at night. And that got me this 6-star Jotun soul, which actually got me 300 points. And that put me over the top and allowed me to get everything I needed. But you can see nothing super exciting here. Doomscreech is the only champion I actually own. So I do have a 2-star soul for him. I will probably sell most of these souls in pursuit of coins for champions that I do have if they pop up in the soul merchant. So I'm hoping to get, Athel a soul, or get Wukong a soul, or Ugo a soul. So if I can get those, then I will definitely buy them if I can. You can see I still have 25 essences up there. I'm not doing a whole lot with Iron Twins, so I'm doing okay. I've gotten to stage 5 here. I'd like to push stage 6 here just for the extra Mortal Soul coins. So I might try that before the end of this server day. But honestly, I'm about maxed out at stage 5. I have pushed all of the dungeons, including the Arcane Keep. I've pushed up to 17, so that helped me get a few points before the end of the first server month. I've pushed Dragon's Lair to stage 17, so that's my furthest dungeon. A lot of people are at stage 20. Some people are in hard mode already. So again, I've only got 2 really built 60s, and I just 60'd my 3rd champion, who is on the way up, and that is Geomancer. Honestly, I considered doing Tagore, and then I leaned into Geomancer because what I realized is this. I know I want Geo at 60. Like, there's no doubt I want Geo at 60. But potentially, depending on who I pull from shards right now, Tagore might actually not go to 60, right? So there's a chance that happens. But if I don't pull anybody during this event, then I'll probably get Tagore to 60 relatively soon, because he's really the backbone of my team. He's got that increased speed. He's got the revive, the shield, the heals. The increased speed I mentioned. So it's such a good champion. Couple of things of note in terms of planning. Right now, if I pull nothing, I do have a plan in place. So I'm getting Morag. I'm going to pull Morag because there is a champion chase going on. I'm going to pull one of the Sabbathas at least. So with Sabbatha and Morag, I have an increased defense and a strengthen. Those pair really well with Geomancer. If I can run Ugo, Morag, Sabbatha, and Geomancer, and then I can potentially run either Anchorite or Tagore, depending on what I think works the best. That gives me a 5 champion team that's really tanky and hard to defeat. Now that pulls Athel and Alice and Sun Wukong and all my damage dealers out of the team other than Geomancer. So it's not going to be fast, but it could be very good for Clan Boss. Another option is to actually run Anchorite and Tagore together. If you don't know, in order to get a 2-to-1 Clan Boss speed tune, the simplest way, the best way, is to have 1 speed buff champion and then a buff extender or a second increase speed champion. So Tagore is an increased speed champion, and then Anchorite extends the duration of ally buffs. This can get me to a 2-to-1 speed tune for Clan Boss. So potentially I could run them maybe without Ugo. I would lose my decreased defense, but then I would have still the heals. I would have the shield. I would have the increased defense here on this. Plus, I would have this little passive, which is really nice to keep. It's going to give you maybe an extra turn or two against the clan boss. Decreases damage received by allies with 50% HP or less by 10%. So when you're low on health, you get tankier. And then potentially pull Ugo and keep Morag, Geo, and Sabatha. That's an idea. That's an idea. I don't know if that's the route I'll go because I still don't know who I'm going to pull from shards right now. And then 2 weeks from now, I'm going to pull my sacred shards. So I have 4. I think I have access to at least 1 more. Oh, and by the way, I should potentially get up to 2 or 3 more void shards before the end of this weekend. So the reason I'm pulling them now, as opposed to waiting to the end of the weekend, is because we did just rearrange the leaderboard, and also because if I pull something on the first 5, I want to have the weekend to play a little bit more, because I play like an extra hour on the weekend days, and hopefully develop those champions. And then it'll also give me a sense of what I need to do with like my fragment. Do I need to pull both of my Sabathas and stuff like that for the champion chase? So that's why I'm pulling tonight as opposed to waiting for 2 days. Yeah. What else did I do? Oh, I also got involved in the champion training tournament here, and I maxed this out. I did, in fact, max this out. I got to the 10,500. That was really difficult. That required me to actually use a couple of energy refills. And also, this is why I had a 6-star Geo. I was actually thinking about holding all the chickens for after the shard pulls, just in case I pulled a legendary who I wanted a 6-star right away. But the only way, you can see, the top prize was, I believe, 10,500. I needed to get there, and there was no way I was going to do that without 6-starring somebody. And as far as books are concerned, let's see how we're doing. All right, so we have 3 skill tomes. Now, I'm not currently booking Geomancer because I was lucky enough to book his A3 all the way out. So even though it would be nice to get his A2 booked out, I think that this is basically fine for now. My Tagore is booked out all the way I need him. I don't need these 2 books on the A1. So those 2 champions are fully booked. Now, Ugo is still struggling a little bit. I need to get these cooldowns. I need to get these cooldowns and the debuff chance. So I'm going to put the 3 books. Do I want to wait? Is there a champion training coming up? Is there a champion training coming up? We just finished one last night. So the question is, do we have one coming up? And I don't think we do. Probably won't have a champion training for a few days until we see the full extent of the fusion events. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and pop all 3 of these onto Ugo right now. Nice. They went into the good skills. We didn't quite max this out. We do have the 100% debuff chance now, though. So 1 more book will get us the cooldown. And then we've got the max heal, and the books will get us the cooldown. So now what's going to happen, is we're going to get 2 books here, right? Now, those the next 2 books will go both in there. Let's look at Alice. Alice needs 2 books there, 2 books there. Maybe if we can get this into the A2, that would be really nice. And that would give us, that 100% chance of increasing the cooldowns. Let's go ahead and pop this in there. Nice, we got it where we needed it. That's really good. And again, even if I pulled like a Void Legendary right now, I would want to max Alice's books out before I started booking a second Lego. So I'm not worried about this. Like, I didn't need to conserve this. Some people will be like, no. If you pull the Great Void Legendary, wouldn't you just want to book it? It's like, no, I don't want 2 half-booked Legendaries. That's not good free-to-play practice. You always want to optimize your champions if you can. So that felt really good to land that book. And even the Ugo books were helpful. So now my debuffs are better. My percentage chances are better. Now I just need to go get those cooldowns with some more books. And then I'll probably book Anchorite if I don't pull anybody else, because he doesn't need that many books to be really effective. You can book him out with like 3 books or 5 books or something. Let me look at Anchorite. So if you get lucky and you miss his A1, because you don't need his A1, his A2 is 2 books and his A3 is 1. So you only need 3 books here for Anchorite to be really, really effective. That's another reason why he's an attractive champion to build soon. Okay, let's go ahead and pull these 5 void shards. Oh, and there's also the chance of the queen. If I pull the queen, that would be silly. That would be absolutely silly. But let's go ahead and see what we get. Even a cold heart would be really nice. We got an epic right away. That's really nice. All right, Ethlid. Ethlid's not bad. He's not awesome. He's actually a little bit of a nuker. So we were just talking about Diana, and I don't really need a nuker. He's got a block active skills debuff for 2 turns. True Fear. It's kind of cool, but it's also kind of redundant, right? Block active skills. I've got the cooldown increase on Alice. He's not a bad champion. I'll have to think about him. Certainly could build him for faction crypts at the very least. He's high elves, and that would help there because I don't really have any good high elves right now. So that's not bad. And remember, every epic will be kept on this account. I don't turn epics into chickens. I just don't unless they're really, really trash and I don't need them. Like if I've already filled up my faction guardians and faction crypts and stuff, then I would use them as chickens. But until then, I do not. All right, Gear Grinder is actually nice. This is not a bad rare to pull because he actually has a revive. This is one of the very few rare revivers. So that's going to help me with the Ogre and Tries, oddly enough, right? I already have Ugo, who's a little bit of a reviver. But so now I've got additional heals. I've got additional heals on the A1. I've got an additional revive, and it's more reliable than Ugo's. So this will actually help me in faction crypts quite a bit. So I'll be holding on to him too. He will not become food. He will definitely go into my faction crypts. So not so bad with the first 2. All right, Dilgul. I kind of knew it was going to be him. For whatever reason, I always pull a Dilgul early in accounts. He does have like this decent decrease speed. It's a lesser decrease speed on the A1. The A2 does actually hit pretty hard. Attacks all enemies 2 times. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing the large decrease accuracy. This actually books up to, looks like 85%, which is a weird number, but okay. And then he has a triple hitter that has a chance of placing the big decrease defense. And like I said, he actually does hit decently hard. So definitely a faction crypts rare for now, but he might become a chicken down the road because I don't usually run champions like this for long term. I have more than enough damage on this account. We've got 2 more shards. I'm hoping for something really nice. Don't expect anything game breaking. These are still valuable champions for me. Harvester is, she's a fusion champ, isn't she? Oh, well. Okay. So not a great champion, but that's okay. We've been doing all right here. Let's do one more. I'd love another epic. Let's just get one more epic. That'd be cool. Cold Heart? Skirmisher. Yeah, I don't think I've ever built this champion. Decreases target's Terminator by 20% if this attack is critical. AoE removes 1 random buff from each enemy. That's not a bad thing. That's never a bad thing on a 3-turn cooldown. I do have a lot of rare tomes. So I am looking for some rares to potentially build either for just faction crypts or maybe like Doom Tower stuff. Because I have like 30-something rare tomes. And I don't really, like, my Athel's already booked. My Doom Screech is already booked. So I do have these available, and I don't want them to just be sitting there. I want to put them into rares that could actually give me value. So nothing game-changing here. Nothing game-changing, I don't think. Some good champions. Some interesting champions. Let's go ahead and pull our Sabbatha. I'm going to pull at least the first copy. I don't know if we're going to pull the second copy or not. We might save that for the next fusion. Again, that's 350 points towards the champion chase. So Sabbatha is good for this account. She gives heals on her A1, which is really nice, especially like with a Morag, right? And then we've got the increased defense and increased attack buff, which is really nice as well. And then a single target revive. And this kind of is kind of cool. Whenever the champion revives an ally, decreases the cooldown of one of this champion's skills by 1 turn. Not that you need to use that a lot, but it's kind of a nice little passive. So that's where we're at. That's where we're at. So let's go back to the leaderboard just for a moment. I want to talk a little bit about what I kind of expect to happen. Okay, so once again, I'm right near the middle of this list. So what's going to happen over the next 2 months? We've got 2 more months. And I think there are a couple of things that are going to happen. One is if you are near the top of the leaderboard, then you're likely to stay near the top of the leaderboard. People can fall out, but only if they really stop playing or stop pushing. And the reason is you get bonus points at the end of every month. So the people above me primarily have gotten more bonus points than I got. But they're also potentially ahead of me, which means if we pace each other for the next month, they're going to be slightly ahead of me and then get slightly more bonus points, thereby widening the gap. So the only way I make up space on anybody above me on the leaderboard is to close the gap get some of those one-time points that maybe they already have that I haven't grabbed yet. So, for instance, pushing my dungeons, getting more faction crypt points, getting higher in arena, that kind of stuff, doing better in clan boss. In addition, some people may fall out of the competition. Free-to-play life is a grind. The first month is really exciting. It's really fun. The second month, it starts to get hard. The third month is heinous. It's like so hard when you're in the challenge and you're grinding 10, 12 hours a day. People are going to get exhausted. People are going to have other things happen in their lives. So some of these players may have the potential to outperform me, and yet they may not, simply because something like that comes along. So there is a certain amount of, I don't know what you would call it, durability maybe that's built into this, like just perseverance that's built into this. How committed are you to this when the excitement starts to wear down? By the way, Nubraid's at 5th place. That's awesome. He's on my team. And he was 7th earlier today, and he's gone up. Hell, Hades in 6th. Wow, he's jumped back up. He was at like 13th or something, or 15th. So really good. And it's good to see Madcapper up here as well. It's just good to see him back in raid, isn't it? Yeah, so anyway, so I do expect that these shifts will continue to happen. As we approach the end of the second month, you're going to know probably who's in the game for the long haul. And so if people haven't dropped out by then, they're probably going to finish strong. And then we'll have to see if, like Hell Hades he pulled Nekmothar, right? He pulled Nekmothar and Lady Kimmy. So I'm sure he's pretty jazzed about his account right now. But we'll have to see if, he's a busy man, if he continues to stay with this level of activity all the way out. The other thing that's going to happen is resource management will become extremely important in the second month, because we get tons of resources in the first month. They're throwing them at us. And just a few resources can make a big difference in the early game in terms of your ability to stay in the game and play. Like, who's burning gems? Who's burning gems in order to get energy? Who's done that yet? Who has conserved some of their free energy refills that they get, every other day as a login reward? And so if you are done on gems and you're done on energy, you might not be able to continue to push that progress that you've been pushing for the first month. And yet I'm still pretty good on those resources. I still have over 600 gems. I still have like 12 energy refills. I'm getting more all the time. And again, that's the slow roll. That's the benefit of the slow roll, because I don't need to use resources as quickly. But I'm also not going to cash them in at the end. I'm not going to say, hey, I've got 25 refills. I'm just going to use them up for the challenge. That's not the goal here. I may hand off this account to whoever I give it to with like 25, 30 refills in their mailbox so that they can go and complete the next fusion. Or maybe I'll use them up in the next fusion after Esme, if that fusion is a good champion, and I'll make sure to lock that into the account before I hand it over. So I do expect that there will be opportunities for me to move up. I think the top 10 is out of reach already. But I think potentially, the top 20 is in striking distance. And maybe something as high as like 16, 17, 18 would be a possibility. Again, my ego's not attached to this. I'm not being a competitor for this. Although I will say this one thing. If anything's going to get me, to be competitive about this, it will be if Team Alice can start closing the gap. Because right now we are almost 16,000 points behind. We were like 14,000 points behind before this whole thing happened. So Team Queen of Hearts is kicking our butts. If we start to close the gap, I may have to just be a good teammate and kick it up a notch and see if I can't, help get an extra 2,000 or 3,000 points for my team. And if that's the case, then yeah, I would cash in there. But otherwise, I fully expect that, I'll basically be using the slow roll all the way through the end of this challenge. All right, that is it for me today. Let me know, what do you think? Based on what I've been doing, first of all, did I make the right decision shifting from the fusion plan into just pulling during the 2x events? I think I did, but let me know your thoughts. Will Team Alice start to close the gap? Do you think we can turn it on in the second and third months and close this gap? Or do you think Team Queen of Hearts is just going to keep pulling away, and by the end of this thing, we're going to be like 30,000 points behind? So that's certainly a possibility. Let me know that in the comments as well. If you have any questions about free-to-play life or why I'm doing what I'm doing on my account, put those down there as well. Thanks so much for hanging out today. I have been Cole Red, and I will see you in another video soon.